So today is the 30th of August, and normally on the 30th of August, the end of August, is hot, really hot and sunny. Look at the sky, grey, terrible, and the temperature is barely 17 or 18 degrees centigrade. So here I am with my fleece in the middle of summer, but I thought I'd cheer you up by putting on my Hawaiian shirt. I know I'm freezing, but let's cheer the atmosphere up by having a bit of color. So despite the terrible weather, I'm going to go into the greenhouse because I've got to show you something very exciting. This is what has made my day. So what has made my day, you might well ask? I'm going to show you how to pot on the air layerings. These, believe it or not, are all air layerings that we separated from the trees 2 weeks ago, exactly 2 Saturdays ago. And when we separated the root ball, I may try and link it with the previous videos, and we then put them into flower pots and stood them in trays of water. And let's go through each one to show you that I'm not kidding. So let's begin with this one. This is put in a very heavy, substantial bonsai pot because I didn't want it to topple over. And let me take it out carefully. Look at that. Look at the roots of that air layering. This, by the way, is an Arakawa, or rough bark maple. It's rough bark, so it's a very rare tree. And this is the amount of root that I've managed to get in exactly 2 weeks. That's where the branch was cut. So there's no cheating, no sleight of hand. And in just 2 weeks, it has filled the pot with those roots. So that's going to go in a flower pot now. This transition stage, we're going to put it in ordinary compost. Another one, this is an ordinary mountain maple. Again, look at the roots from that. Straight from the moss ball onto this, and that is what it has created, and that's the sphagnum moss. I can save some sphagnum moss if I wanted to. So that one is rooted. This one is not a maple for a change. This is the Antarctic beech, Nothophagus antarctica. This also rooted very, very fast. This rooted maybe in 6 weeks, and we put the moss ball in this flower pot with moss, and these are the roots that have come out. And we chose these branches because they already look like bonsai. So we got a ready-made bonsai from that one. Now this is a bigger branch. This branch is at least maybe 4 or 5 inches in diameter. The original root ball is still there. And look at the shoots on this. Look at that. Air layering. Air layering in about this was done at the end of April, so it's May, June, July, August, 4 months from separating the tree. There's the stump. There is the stump. And this is the amount of roots. So this is going to probably go in that flower pot with soil. And so we keep potting these on. I'll show you exactly what we're going to pot it in the compost, but let's take you for a walk around the nursery because harvesting the air layerings is a very exciting time. I like to use the word harvest because harvest is exactly what it is. Now earlier on, this was an air layering, and this is what Josh has already potted up. We put them into flower pots with ordinary soil. We potted 3, 4 of them, and if I take you to the end, we will show you some more. Such an exciting time. These trays of water I should mention, we stand the air layerings in this so that it doesn't dry out. So that's another air layering. So we stand them in trays of water with just 1 inch of water. Now this is another example, talking of that, just to give you all these little trade secrets. We never let it stand on its own. So this is standing in water. And the other thing is, you see the wire here, we tie them against the post so it doesn't shake around. If it were to shake about, then the shaking would break the roots and you would not get it taking. So we tie it to the post so that it is stable, and this is also tied to the pot. See, this is tied to the pot so that it doesn't topple from the pot. because this was a shallow pot. I don't know where the end of the wire is. The wire is at the bottom there. I don't know whether, yeah, okay. Did you do this one?
Yeah.
Okay. So these are all little tricks to keep the tree stable while it's getting established in the pot. Now let me pull it out and see. Now this one, the roots are just barely coming. Can you see? It hasn't filled the pot, so I'm not going to take it out. I need this pot to be filled with roots before I transplant it into a flower pot, normal flower pot with compost. So this I'm not rushing to do. I will put it back here, so I don't want to rush it to kill it. So this can stay back in there. Let me show you some of the other ones. Now these I know have rooted. This is a Jacqueline Hillier Chinese elm. Again, it's tied to the pot. Let me take it out. This is all genuine stuff. No magic, no tricks. Look at that. That is an air layering put in the first pot. That's rooted. This one is a big one. This one, I may put it back in the pot because the roots are only just coming. It hasn't filled the pot completely. So I may not be a bit impatient, as I tend sometimes to be, and I'll put it back in the tray of water here so that it generates some more roots. You see, I always stand it in these plastic or fiberglass trays with a bit of water, and I'm in fact going to tie it with the wire again so that it doesn't shake and get knocked out. Now, it may seem to be a simple thing, but this tying to the post so that the tree doesn't shake is part of the process of ensuring that the roots get well established. If it were to shake about, then that would be curtains, you know, that the thing wouldn't root. Now it's too far from the post, so I'll tie it to another tree. So that'll keep it steady. So that keeps it steady. Now let's look at this one. This is a mountain maple, same thing we've done. I haven't looked at any of this, so I haven't cheated. Let's see. Bingo, okay. This I could put in a flower pot. Okay, this I can put in a flower pot. Come along here, Josh, I will show you. These are the ones that Josh air layered. In fact, they're all layered. That is the day we cut the bark. So the air layer was only started on the 21st of April 21. And this was separated 2 weeks ago. Look at that, in 2 weeks, look at the trunk there. Look at that thickness of the trunk, well over an inch thick, and look at the roots which have filled this pot. So much root. That is success. So I stood it in a little tray of water so that it doesn't dry out. And these are Trident Maples. I've always said that Trident Maples are extremely difficult to air layer. But Josh has proved me wrong, and he has successfully air layered these Trident Maples. Look at the roots coming out. I don't even have to take it out of the pot. Look at the roots. Oh my God. Look at that. It's like Chinese noodles. Instant noodle. Instant noodle is the word for it. And here we are, another one which is in a flower pot. And I will see if this has done the same thing. I bet it has. Look at that. So these are all going to be potted up into flower pots with ordinary compost. There are more, but I won't bore you. I'm going to take these all out, and we're going to pot them up into flower pots. So let's just show you one or two, and then we will reinforce the learning process. Okay, we can turn it off. So all we do is put a little bit of soil at the bottom. Yeah, that's enough. Plenty. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, okay. Straight in the pot. And then we fill soil around the side. and that will make it even stronger. And we can grow this in this pot for a year or 6 months and then start training. So this is the source of ready-made thick trunk trees. Okay, so all we do is shake it. Oh, that's plenty. Just ram it tight, gently around the side, and that pot it up. So we go on from tree to tree. This one, in fact, we can do it straight, fill the bottom of that pot with soil. So literally a couple of inches of soil, that's plenty. And then we put the tree in. We lift it a little more. Okay, just put the soil and we ram it from the sides. Not hard, just ram it gently from the side. And that will be done. That's what we do. I'm aware that different people will obviously have different methods of doing it. But this method, as I say, works for us. So I'm just sharing the secrets with you, what we do. You can clearly see that it works for us. And this is how we propagate our maples and all our other deciduous trees. When I say deciduous trees, that's not the end of story, because we also do our Chinese junipers this way. Chinese junipers root very easily. Okay, that's plenty. Okay. And Trident maple, I haven't done it for years, but I will be very encouraged and do more. So these are Trident maples, air-layered. When you think that in 4 months you got a tree with 2-inch trunk, how easy is that? This one has got a 1-inch trunk. So more harvesting, just any flower pot. Maybe those flower pots maybe don't fill it that much. This one can go this tree. Okay, that's plenty. So at Herons, we are self-sufficient in maples. We do not import any maples at all. All the maples that you see on the nursery are home-produced trees. So that's done. And next year, the bonsai training can start. That one again, straight in that pot, just a couple of inches of soil at the bottom, just pour it from the bag. Yeah, that's good. All right. Look at that, thick trunk tree, beautiful. Can't wait to work on this. By next spring we will work on this. Okay, pour it from the bag. Turn it around. Lean the tree back a little bit. one Trident Maple in there with the roots. So we choose a pot which is only about an inch bigger all around, bigger than the root ball. You don't need to put too large a pot, because if you use too large a pot, the soil can become sour. So once this has filled, you can then start putting it in bigger and bigger pots to get the tree stronger. You can, if you wish, plant it back in the ground to really thicken the trunk. I tend not to do that because I've already achieved the thickness by choosing branches which are thick enough. This is our special base compost. This is specially made for us, but we also then go on to add volcanic grit, akadama, and all sorts of other ingredients to make our standard bonsai compost. So that's another one done. And then this one, as you can see, look at that. This is a small root ball, and that would fit perfectly in that pot. So I don't need to find too large a pot. Okay. So there you are, this one. I need hardly tell you that we are so excited seeing the results of what we did. So most of these air layerings were done by Josh. He's become somewhat of an expert in air layering. So that's how I pot this up. It's quite sturdy. Then there's another one. This is the instant bonsai, again Nothofagus with a beautiful trunk, and all I do, I find a slightly bigger flower pot. So these are all the tricks that I'm passing on to you. Sometimes I try to be a bit stingy, and I can save some of this moss because moss is so expensive. Because the root ball is there, why waste the moss? So I will use this moss for another air layering. You know, when you have a big nursery like this and you're doing hundreds of air layerings, every bit of moss helps. Every time I place a moss order, it costs me a couple of £1,000. So we use moss in large quantities. So every little bit I save is okay. It helps me. So this will be an instant bonsai, instant bonsai. Okay, that's okay. That's all I need to do. So these have all been potted up. There's one more maple. Now this one is a rather strange one. This is a Horny mountain maple. And I may just put some, I'll save some of the moss, and just put some soil at the bottom, save the moss. We don't waste anything. Let me just put a bit of mesh at the bottom. I will just put some soil at the bottom here. Use the same pot. It's just to get it meshing its roots into soil now rather than moss, and grow more roots. So I've introduced some soil. So I've shown you quite a lot, but we've got more to do because this is harvesting time. So this is when we harvest all our air layering. So that moss that we've retrieved, I'm going to use it for next year's air layering or use it for resuscitating sick trees. So in the space of half an hour, we potted on about 10 or 12 air layerings that we've harvested. And that will be the start of bonsai for next year. So this is how we produce our stuff. All our secrets are revealed. No jiggery pokery, no sleight of hand. All honest hard work and all genuine techniques that we have devised and invented here. So So many of these trees are all air layerings, like this is an air layering, that is an air layering. So they're all for you to see. There are more here that have rooted, but I haven't got enough time to show you them all. So this is just part of the success that we've had from air layering this year. Now this, okay, that air layering, I've been following the progress of this, but I haven't been very successful with this. This is a Benichidori that I did late last year in September. Let's see what's happening here. Maybe because we may not have cut enough bark. Usually Benichidori is very easy to air layer. Let's see why I don't have masses of roots here. Maybe I may not have cut enough. Oh, a lot of ants in there. Oh, there are some roots. There are some roots.
Yeah,
okay, let's see. Take it off carefully. But if there are not enough roots, I'm not going to separate it from the tree because it may break. There are roots here. There are roots. But because this is such a substantial tree, look at it, there are roots. There are roots. Look at the roots at the bottom here. Okay, there are roots here. There are roots. But the question is, do I separate it or not? If I separate it, I may not have enough root there. It's a big gamble. It's a big gamble to take. You see, there are roots. Can you see at the bottom here? The roots here. The thing is, if I separate and the tree dies, I will suffer heavy loss because that's quite a substantial tree. I don't know. Huh?
Should we wait until spring?
I think it may be wise to wait till the spring. We put that back. So sometimes, you know, it doesn't work the way you want. There is enough root. I could take a gamble and cut it off and put it in a pot and hope that it'll root. But there's also a chance that it could not take. So I wasted such a beautiful twin trunk tree just for being a bit impatient. So I'm going to put this back and wait till spring to cut it off. Very tempting to cut it off and see what happens, but I don't want to take the risk. So there you are. We're going to tie it back again. Note, I will end today's video. Look at the size of that. You know, to risk such a beautiful tree for the sake of few months, I think it would be foolhardy. After all, bonsai is about patience, and if I don't exercise patience, I don't think I'm setting a very good example. So on that note, I hope you've enjoyed this air layering project of potting on the trees. Hope you enjoyed it.